Heart is an amazing organ. It continuously pumps oxygen and nutrient-rich blood throughout your body to sustain life. This fist-sized powerhouse beats 100,000 times per day, pumping 5 to 6 quarters of blood each minute, or about 2,000 gallons per day. Heart is made up of muscles. When the strong muscular walls contract or squeeze, it pumps blood to the arteries. As the heart beats, it pumps blood through a system of blood vessels which are known as circulatory system. The vessels are elastic tubes that carry blood to every part of the body. Blood is essential. In addition to carrying fresh oxygen from the lungs and nutrients to your body tissues, it also takes the body's waste products, including carbon dioxide, away from the tissues. This is necessary to sustain life and promote the health of every body tissue. So now let's discuss some important points about the human heart's physiology. So, the atrioventricular valves are 3 in number and they prevent the backflow of blood from the ventricles into the atria. There are 3 tricuspid valves which are present between the right atrium and the right ventricle. There are 2 bicuspid or mitral valves which are between the left atrium and left ventricle. Semilunar valves are 3 in number which prevent the backflow of blood into the ventricle. Pulmonary or semilunar valves are 3 and aortic semilunar valves are 3. They are present at the opening between the right ventricle and the pulmonary trunk, and aortic semilunar valve is present between the left ventricle and the aorta. The heart functions as a pump in the circulatory system to provide a continuous flow of blood throughout the body. This circulation consists of systemic circulation and pulmonary circulation. In systemic circulation, the blood flows to and from the body, whereas in pulmonary circulation, blood flows to and from the lungs. So, in this pulmonary circulation, lungs are involved, and in systemic circulation, the body is involved. So here you can see the anatomy of the heart. So this is the anterior view of the human heart and this is the posterior view of the human heart. So here we can see superior vena cava, arc of aorta, pulmonary trunk, left pulmonary artery and left pulmonary veins, and apex of the heart, inferior vena cava and aorta, and this is the apex of the heart, left pulmonary veins. So now we will discuss about the flow of deoxygenated blood. The right heart first of all collects the deoxygenated blood from the 2 large veins which are known as superior and inferior vena cava. Blood collects into the left and right atrium continuously. The superior vena cava drains blood from the upper body parts, while inferior vena cava drains blood from below the diaphragm and empties into the back part of the atrium. Immediately above and to the middle of the opening of inferior vena cava is the opening of a thin-walled coronary sinus. The coronary sinus returns deoxygenated blood from the myocardium to the right atrium. The blood collects into the right atrium. When the right atrium contracts, the blood is pumped through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. As the right ventricle contracts, the tricuspid valve closes and the blood is pumped into the pulmonary trunk through the pulmonary valve. The pulmonary trunk is divided into pulmonary arteries and progressively smaller arteries throughout the lungs when it reaches capillaries of the lungs. As these pass by alveoli of the lungs, carbon dioxide is exchanged for oxygen. This happens through the process of diffusion. As a result, the CO2 or carbon dioxide is released into air through the process of breathing. Now the we will discuss about the flow of oxygenated blood. The oxygenated blood is returned to the left atrium via the pulmonary veins. It is then pumped to the left ventricle through the mitral valve and into the aorta through the aortic valve for systemic circulation. The aorta is a large artery that branches into smaller arteries, arterioles, and ultimately capillaries. In the capillaries, oxygen and nutrients from blood are supplied to the body cells for metabolism, and they are exchanged for CO2 and waste products. Capillary blood, now deoxygenated, travels into venules and veins that ultimately collect into the superior vena cava and into the right heart. So the oxygen from the lungs is first of all transported to left atrium through pulmonary veins, and it is then distributed to the body. Heartbeat. Pulse rate is also known as heart rate. It is the number of times your heart beats per minute. A normal resting heart rate should be between 60 to 100 beats per minute, but it can vary from minute to minute. So, first of all, the air deoxygenated blood comes from the lungs into pulmonary veins, and then it comes into left atrium it passes through bicuspid atrioventricular valve into left ventricle, and then it passes into aorta by means of aortic semillunar valve, and then from aorta the blood goes to the body tissues. Now in body tissues, the deoxygenated blood will go to vena cava and then into right atrium and then into right ventricle and then into pulmonary arteries. Then it will go into lungs for oxygenation, and after oxygenation the oxygenated blood will again flow through all these cycles. Lungs will give oxygenated blood to pulmonary veins and then into left atrium, and then in this cycle the oxygenated blood is flowing, and in this cycle the deoxygenated blood was flowing. In this cycle, oxygenated blood flows. Now, let's discuss that in this cycle, the oxygenated blood is flowing, and in this cycle, deoxygenated blood is flowing. There are different types of cardiovascular diseases such as coronary artery disease, arrhythmia, congenital heart disease, aortic diseases, pericardial diseases, valve diseases, and finally heart failure. What are the main causes of heart diseases? So guess from these pictures. First of all, physical inactivity, genetics, diabetes, unhealthy diet, obesity. Now, what are the fun facts about the heart? The right side of your heart pumps blood into your lungs. The left side of your heart pumps blood back through your body. Your human heart is myogenic. A woman's heart beats slightly faster than a man's. The beating sound your heart makes is caused by the opening and closing of its valves. Human heart beats over 100,000 times per day. The average heart is the size of a fist in an adult. What are the symptoms of cardiac diseases? Chest pain or angina, chest pressure, heaviness or discomfort, and sometimes described as a belt around the chest or weight on the chest. It also includes shortness of breath or dyspnea, dizziness or fainting, fatigue or exhaustion. Why is blood important? Because it transports oxygen to and from the lungs. Blood removes waste products such as carbon dioxide. It also acts as a medium that delivers nutrients from the digestive system. Blood circulates disease-fighting entities such as white blood cells. They are an important part of the immune system. So what are the main components of blood? Blood includes plasma, Buffy coat, erythrocytes, formed elements such as leukocytes, white blood cells, and there are many nutrients. And white blood cells, mainly 55% is plasma, which includes water, ions, proteins, nutrients, wastes, gases, and there are electrolytes, proteins such as albumin. So plasma is mostly water. And there are 44 to 45% red blood cells. And thirdly, there are buffy coat, or which includes white blood cells, platelets, and leukocytes. So mainly there are three main parts of the blood. First of all, there are plasma, second buffy coat, and third erythrocytes. Plasma consists mainly of water and ions and nutrients, electrolytes, whereas buffy coat includes platelets and leukocytes, whereas third part is red blood cells or erythrocytes. Now we will discuss about the blood vessels. The three main blood vessels are artery, veins, and capillaries. Arteries transport blood from heart to organs, whereas vein transports blood from organs to the heart, and capillaries carry blood to organs where gaseous exchange occurs. Arteries are thick, where veins are comparatively thinner, and capillaries are very thin. Arteries have elastic walls and narrow lumen. Veins have less elastic walls and very large lumen, and capillaries have inelastic walls and very large lumen.